Red 2 standing by, all for lit, and in the green. Welcome back to Pokemon Emerald version. We've been chilling out for a little bit and we've got a phone call. Alrighty, so we can rematch Ethan at the Jagged Pass, but not going to worry about that now. I'm probably, on the other hand, going to grab my TMs and teach the Steel Falcon Aerial Ace because it doesn't actually learn it. And I also found out that Air Slash was introduced in Generation 4. So future me has probably put that up in previous episodes because that's kind of what I do. Anyway, we don't have the biggest move range for Skarmory, unfortunately. But we will get there. We will slowly get the team through as we head out past the creeps in the Mimic Circle. I did find that they can't actually go into the sections where there's no grass, so you can avoid them that way. We can quickly jump over the river here, and we're going exploring today. In the rain. Ooh, trainer. Okay, so I didn't battle this guy first time around. Oops. Oh well, at least he's actually got Surf. Please. If they're all Magikarps, I'm going to throw you in the lake. Honestly, it has been... it has been a time. It has been an absolute horrible time, full of rude people. Wow, that didn't one-shot. That kind of sucks. It has been a horrible time, full of rude and difficult and unpleasant people who just give you attitude and make life miserable. And I'm sorely tempted to insert star pickets somewhere incredibly painful. Okay, why is the Tentacool such a low level? That's weird. Well, on the bright side at least, I've been having fun with Vanguard. I have completed the main story of Fire Red version. Okay, good. We can actually see it. It's still so hard to find. It does get Swift Swim. Not doing much damage though. And we do get a bit more experience than Magikarp. Feebas is helpful in that sense. And Carvana. Well, it's a decent catch. Still nothing Falcon can't handle. And there we go. Oh, so close. Yeah. Decent collection of Pokemon, and actually finding Feebas on its own is an achievement, so you're doing something right, dude. So, we can find an item, that's handy. Zinc for special defense. I've pretty much trained the majority of my team anyway. So I will use the Zinc on... Kiwi is probably the only one who really can have those. But we'll get Falcon up a level and keep going. It's a bog standard Zigzagoon. Nice. Still no shiny Pokemon. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. But then again, given where I'm playing it, that would be kind of sad because how do I get them off that? I think it's much better to find them in the games. Hey, there we go. Still amazing defense. The attack is solid, but that defense, the special attack, oof. Well done. So we'll get the amulet coin onto... Well, we got to get Truffle, Zunama, and Kiwi up a couple of levels, so we'll switch Zunama. It is interesting that you can still use things from the menu. I mean, some things you do have to, because, like, if you want to use Cut on the long grass here to find that the Mimic Circle can be rendered unable to move, then you have to use it from the menu. But doing everything from the menu was accurately described as a pain in the butt in the original games. There were so many issues. So many problems. Well, Truffle's actually nearly ready to level up. Neat. I will eventually find out where Feebas is. Can't go north immediately, but if we head through the long grass and run into a wild Pokemon, nothing changes. I'm at least happy about that. There's some measure of consistency. I can come back here, I can play Emerald for a little while, and we're all happy. And we should get decent experience. And there we go, the team is almost level 36. We have pretty good levels. We did alright in the gym battle against Winona. But we will need a bit more experience for Tate and Liza. But we're not far off that. I mean, they were quite possibly worse. Like, Lieutenant Surge doesn't have a great reputation in some circles as a gym leader, but Tate and Liza are probably worse. So, 1, 2, 3... Across we go, and what can we find over here? We can sneak up here. Oh, it's... Oh. It's just a secret base. I am mildly disappointed. Yep, secret bases. I am somewhat disappointed. Alrighty, so we just move on and pretend that didn't happen. Can we rematch the Pokemon Rangers? How far does Tsunama have to go to level up anyway? Probably a battle's worth. Oh well, jam on our Pokenav. Alright, so who have we got on Route 119 anyway? It does tell you, at least. So we'll have a look and quickly find out. Making sure I don't skip over anything, probably towards the end of the list, in all fairness. We probably should have the Pokemon Ranger Catherine Jackson. Okay, Pokemon Ranger Jackson is a rematch opponent. Off we run, and he's just up here. Alrighty, I don't have a particularly wild spirit. I have a personality very much like a cat. I will interact with you in my own time, at my own pace. If I don't want to, I will just disappear. But I will also wind up interacting with people who don't like me very much somehow. Because you know what cats are like. They get a bit wary if you do approach them, which is very hard for cat lovers. But they will inevitably pick the person who doesn't like cats or is allergic to cats and sit on their lap. They just have an uncanny knack of doing that. But they're lovely animals. I mean, for all she can be a bit of a nuisance, Kiwi is still a very lovely cat, and I presume by this point I have actually shown people what Kiwi actually looks like. Because she's a nice little cat. Alrighty, level 36. So things have gone pretty well for the team at least. Probably want to put Joelle so that we can finally, after so long, get her to evolve and get the much better Shadow Punch. Now, I can give Dusclops better moves, but it's also worth noting, I will run into a wild Pokemon again, that I can't do very much. Oh no. We could have a long drawn-out slugfest. I forgot to get Secret Power. Well, let's back ourselves. At least Linoon learning Mud Sport is very handy, because it's like so many ground types learn Mud Sport. I mean, maybe it had its applications in a double battle, but it's like you're already immune to electric moves. In a single battle, this is useless. Just have to hope the Confusion Luck has held up fairly well, because I'm doing basically no damage. Because it's amazing. All of those great coverage moves that Dusclops gets are special in these games, because getting to abuse the likes of Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, and Fire Punch with Alakazam in Generation 2 and Gengar made it so good. Like, you just had amazing coverage right off the bat. It wasn't quite as broken as in Generation 1, but it would still shatter the game into little pieces and make Lance a total joke as well. Like, you get a good Alakazam with the right with solid special attack, and you can take out those Dragonites easily. It is pretty interesting to note that Lance has always been something of a flying type specialist. In every champion battle, well, like when you face him I suppose he's more of a flying type specialist in Generation 2. In Generation 1, he at least has the 2 Dragonair. In the Johto games, his entire team is part flying. And he's always had Gyarados and Aerodactyl. Oh well. So that was a long and tedious fight I probably didn't need to have. I mean, you can also technically argue that Agatha is a poison type specialist, because all her Pokemon have to be... Why do you people suck? I keep getting stuck with that question. Why do I wind up having people on my Pokenav who are so terrible? Can't they actually win any battles? Seriously. Like, you wind up being the player character in a Pokemon game. You really are the chosen one. At least the gym leaders will usually make you work for it, but everyone else sucks compared to you. Like, I don't think I've had any of these trainers call me up with something remotely inspiring. It's like, hi there, I failed to catch... Oh, I need Waterfall for that. Pooh. I'm a little sad about that. I went all this way to get the stuff for the bike, and there's nothing I can do. Damn. Waterfall's like 8th gym too. Oh well, we will actually go back to Slateport. Because I want to go and buy Secret Power so Joelle at least has some coverage that doesn't stink. Even then, Secret Power isn't that great. I mean, the physical special split would make life a lot better. They really, really did hit the nail on the head in the DS era. Not that it's unenjoyable now, but it would be nice if they put a little bit more effort into some of the optimization and the like. I am not that picky about graphics, if I'm going to be honest. I grew up with Mario 64, which looked blocky as all get out. That's not what I'm after. I mean, I don't mind if a game looks a little bit rough, a little bit cubic. I'm really, really happy with all that. It's water off a duck's back, really. But you can put a bit of effort into... I don't mind if you do put some effort into polishing things, because there is a point where it's just not working, you know? Like, Game Freak's always had a little bit of magic, enough to make the Pokemon games interesting. They get great character designs. They get great Pokemon designs. but they just cannot seem to get the programming side of things right. Most of their games seem to be held together with string and prayers. I genuinely do not know how they manage it, but it's like, I mean, it still works. It still works well enough. I mean, Generation 1 was... You can probably argue that Generation 1 is actually an interesting selection of glitches and bad programming decisions strung together by the occasional segment of gameplay, and they just worked. I'm not exactly that much of a coder, but it is interesting seeing how those old games worked, or sort of going, how the hell did this thing actually wind up holding together? And why are there so many things that, in hindsight, seem really stupid? But it's the weird thing. In those pioneering days, like, you can break Mario 64 into tiny whimpering pieces. The sheer amount of ridiculousness that is needed to actually pull off the A button challenge. Beating the game in as few A presses as possible, and everything that entails. And yet, the game just worked. Now we can actually get onto some meaningful battles. Like, honestly, I've got no problem with those games. I don't mind that they're a bit janky underneath the hood. I don't mind if they're just a complete mess in certain senses. They worked, they provided us with a hell of a lot of entertainment, and that's what counts. That is what makes me happy. Like, I will always have a fondness for Mario 64. I'm always going to love Ocarina of Time. I mean, Wind Waker is always going to be... Wind Waker... Well, Wind Waker is one of them. I think Link's Remakening is pretty close to being my favourite Zelda game. I have said that, but I'd probably argue it's a tie between Link's Remakening and Wind Waker. Wind Waker was my first one, and it's still the sound of adventure. It is still a wonderful experience. I mean, heck, it's up on the channel. Please check that out. I had fun with that. I mean, the very first episode, I discovered something new. I realized that you could actually rob your grandma. I don't recommend doing that in real life. Unless you are one of those unfortunate souls who has a really, really terrible grandma who's, like, racist or something. But even then, I probably wouldn't recommend robbing your grandma. I do need to put a legal disclaimer up there: do not rob your grandma. If, despite what I've said, you do wind up robbing your grandma, don't blame me. I didn't tell you to. Unless she's rich, then we're splitting the loot. Okay, in all seriousness, we have another Kecleon blocking off this item. So we get our Devon scope out, put the scouter on, and away we go. Yeah, I note that in the... Yeah, definitely, in the 3D games, Kecleon just looks kind of washed out. And it's a bit sad. Because, I don't know, I just love the vibrancy in these games. I mean, it winds up looking a little bit... The colours are a little bit more obvious on my on the TV because of the way it presents itself. It's not that great in all fairness. But honestly, even just the regular sprite work, it still has a bit of pizzazz. It just looks better. Hooray, we get to use parafusion. It's like, it's not terrible, it's just... I think sometimes when they transferred everything over, they just wound up looking a bit washed out, not quite as lively. Yes, there we go! Let's go, Joel. It is time for the solution of evolution. And there we are, Dusclops, which brings with us a new Pokédex entry. Shadow Punch. Oh, so let's get rid of Astonish. Shadow Punch never misses. So that's going to be really helpful against Pocket Sand or evasion strategies. Well done. Let's take a quick look at the stats. And we will put the good captain... brain switch off. The good captain is at the front of the party. We will take a look at the stats. HP still isn't great. It never will be, but I did put some good investment into it. Oh yeah, look at that. Still as slow as a wet week, but that's some good attack. Alright, so we now have... Drumroll please, as I try and drag this out as much as possible until I work out exactly where it is in the Pokédex. It's probably a long way up the back. Yep. We have Dusclops, the Beacon Pokemon. Dusclops likes to get people to follow it wherever it goes. It will achieve this by various methods. Dusclops are known to randomly start conga lines in the middle of crowded cities, and they somehow wind up compelling people to follow them. Where Dusclops is going, nobody knows, but one thing's for sure. At the end of the party, Dusclops certainly isn't picking up the check. There we go. We get a Nest Ball, which I think helps us catch Pokemon which are lower level in comparison to us. It's just such a simple little touch. I mean, the illusion is kind of ruined by the fact that you can see that our sprite is just hovering up and down and the Pokemon isn't reflected. But it's just a nice little touch being able to see your reflection. Now, if we sneak in here, we can get into the Scorched Slab, which is later expanded upon in Generation 6, so they did something good with that. You find the TM for Sunny Day in here. Why is there some random named cave in the middle of nowhere that holds this TM that appears to have some sort of importance? Well, it's a reference to Japanese mythology and Amaterasu sealing herself away in a cave until she was ultimately persuaded to emerge by the rather risque dance performed by Uzume. Interestingly, when we got the upgraded form of Amaterasu in the original version of Cardfight Vanguard, this is the pre-G era, and I think this one came out pre-Break Rides, and his Break Rides were the original set 10, Limit Break was original set 6, but Solar Maiden Uzume was the starter associated with the upgraded Amaterasu. And her being able to search out Amaterasu was a reference to Uzume's dance that ultimately persuaded Amaterasu to come out of her cave, and Future Me has probably been putting all the relevant information up on the screen. So thank you for that, because I don't remember it all off the top of my head, but it's still pretty interesting anyway. I've got a really good book that has a whole lot of Japanese myths and legends in it, translated from a range of sources, one of which is the legend of the Bell of Mugen, which I've gone over in the past, that details exactly why Bronzor and Bronzong are connected as the Bronze Mirror and Bronze Bell. Alright, Captain Toad will go for the uppercut. Psybeam. Of course it missed. It's the first time I've tried to use that, I think. I am... Wow. Oh, critical hit. Okay. But yeah, Truffle's defense is not great. I am severely disappointed. I don't know why I've got the habit of just saying disappoint. There we go. Probably feels like it should be tradition to have Captain Toad yelling Shoryuken, because Sky Uppercut probably seems like it should be a Shoryuken, and I believe it can actually hit flying opponents. I don't know, I miss that. I miss that move. I really like the fact we have it, and I'm sad they took it out of the game. I suppose it didn't do anything truly special, but come on, it's a nice bit of variety. I'm still really miffed about the fact that Signal Beam is gone, because Signal Beam was such good coverage. So many electric types with crappy move pools could at least learn Signal Beam. Managed to look respected. Oh, okay. That's really interesting. So they might actually have different quotes if the results are different. Yeah, so I've learned something. That's actually pretty cool. This is really in-depth. Lessons. I think we learned a good lesson today. That's probably a good spot to stop, in all fairness, just as long as I patch up Truffle, and then in the next episode, we can wind up looking for a few Pokemon. Thank you very much for joining me. Till next time, this is Red 2, returning to base.